everyone, it's Miss Rebecca. Today you'll need a white paper, vertical, and you also need a pencil and a lot of colored pencils today. You can also use a watercolor set if you have it. Okay, today we're going to make a wild ostrich. So start with a circle towards the middle of your paper and the top. So just do it loose and freehand. Sketch your circle in this motion, going around and around until it's as circular as you like. That's for the head shape. Then you're going to create the neck with these long diagonal slanted lines coming from the bottom of the circle to the bottom of your paper. Now we're going to create the beak. Start with a curve that's in the middle of this circle, and then we're going to create the letter V. So the letter V is just an arrow that points down. So it points downwards there. Now don't connect it because the sides we're going to add a little bump or a curve that comes around on the left side here. And we're going to try to match it on the right side, a little curve that comes around there. Now that's the shape of the beak. Now we're going to create the opening or the mouth just by drawing a line that follows that V or that arrow and goes from the left side all the way to the right side of your beak. Okay, so now I'm going to outline the entire beak just so you can see it at home a little bit better. So I'm just darkening this V or this arrow that's pointing down, and I'm outlining where this mouth opening is. I'm outlining around that top curve, and then we're going to add these little nostrils or these little oval shapes towards the top of your beak. Notice there's a little slant to them. Now we're going to create the eyes. The eyes are going to be big and wide, so make sure your circles are pretty large and should be right on top of the beak, one side and then the other side, and the circle shapes, they should match. So try your best to make them the same size. And just go around and around loosely. It doesn't have to be perfect until that shape is created. Now start on the inside of your circle towards the bottom and create this slanted eyelid. So this slant goes from the bottom to the top and comes off a little bit towards the edge of the head shape. So starting on the inside of the eye, make that diagonal go upwards and curve and hit the outside of the head shape. Okay, just cleaning it up a little bit. Okay, now we're creating another curve, but just follow the same shape of your circle, and that's going to be for the black part of the eye. Now I'm going to create a little circle in both sides. There we go. Okay, now you're going to use your eraser. Erase the top of that eyelid. You don't need it, so just erase there. Brush off the excess eraser. And I'm erasing the other side. You don't need that anymore. Okay. Now, we're going to create these long slanted lines that are going to radiate out from this bird's face. So notice I started at the inside of the eyes, and now I'm at the outside of the eyes. And I'm going to radiate these lines outwards, just like it's a sun and the rays of the sun are shining outwards. Notice whatever I do on one side, I do on the other side, just trying to match it. So if I place a line here, where this beak is right here, I'm going to try to match that same line on the opposite side. Okay, so these are your diagonals. I'm going to add one right here and then I'm going to match it on the other side. So it looks kind of like the sun. Okay, looking good. Now, find a color that you would like for the eye. I'm going to pick red, but you do not have to pick red. It could be blue or green, brown, any color for your eye. But whatever color you want for your eye, you're going to outline this section of the eye with whatever color you would like the eye to be. Make sure that you do it on both sides to match left eye to right eye. And I'm going to have my eyes look red. So I'm just outlining it so I know for later what color I plan to fill in. Now take your black and outline the top of the eye. Remember, a little bit comes off like a little eyelash. Outline this circle that stays white and outline around this inner circle with your black. So again, I'm outlining the top of the eye and eyelash, just like that. I'm going to outline my circle on the inside here. That's going to stay white. And then I'm going to outline around this curve, black. And we're going to save that for later. Now the beak. I like to make my beak orange, but your beak could be brown or it could be blue or purple. It doesn't have to be orange. But whatever color you choose for the beak, I want you to outline it with that color. So just take your time and outline, trace around your pencil. Very carefully, do the mouth. That's that arrow that points downwards. Okay, and then I'm going to outline the little nostrils. And there we have it. So I did my outline. Now, each section, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You should have 10 sections, but if you don't have that many, it's okay. I'm going to use 10 colored pencils, just so my bird can be very colorful. I'm going to start in this section, and I want you to almost scribble or be pretty scratchy as you radiate lines outwards in that section. So just flick your pencil, flick, 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 until it looks filled in. Then switch and start drawing your radiating diagonal lines. Flick, 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 flick. Right? In each section. And as I change sections, I'm changing colors. So I just did red and orange. Now I'm doing yellow. And I'm just flicking it outwards, almost scribbling. It's okay. And now I'm going to change to light green. Just going to flick, flick, flick. And just lightly do that. And I'm going to switch to light blue. And notice it's almost like I'm scribbling, but I'm staying inside that section. So you want to see these slanted lines. You want to see these diagonal lines. And they should look scratchy. Switching to purple. In each section, a different color. And now, this is like a dark red or a maroon. Doing the same thing. But notice the motion. I'm radiating out from the middle like the sun shining. And now this is brown. Now if you don't have as many colors as I do, it's okay. You could just use 2 colors and alternate. Or 3 colors and just make a pattern with the colors that you have. That's my black. Okay, now here's a close-up. How you color in the eyes. You have to press down harder so that this is really solid. So I'm pushing down pretty hard on my red colored pencil so that this gets filled in really solid. So take your time and do that. And again, it doesn't have to be red. It could be any color. Now take your black, and I'm just gonna fill in around this white spot here and in that curve. Really solid black. So you want this to be the darkest black on your picture. So that way the eyes really draw you in to this illustration. So I filled in those and I left those white spots. Okay. Now I'm gonna fill in the beak. So I'm taking my orange, and again, whatever color you chose, it doesn't have to be orange. I'm filling in and I'm pressing pretty hard, or I'm putting a lot of pressure so that way I can get this very solid color inside the beak. And that way the beak and the eyes will really pop. Okay, there you have it. I'm going to fill in the nostrils with black, and there it is. Okay, notice how the eyes and beak stand out. Now the neck. Pick a few colors and just make those lines go up and down, kind of scratchy, kind of pointing towards the bird's face. So I'm just going to use 3 different colors and fill in the neck area until it's all filled in. Okay. Now, the outer background, you can use any color you like. I'm going to use black watercolor paint because I like the contrast between the watercolor paint and the pencils. So I'm going to use paint for this outer edge. Now I'm going to flick my paintbrush in towards those pencil lines. So first I'm going to fill in all the white space, and then I'm flicking inwards. You notice that? So I'm making that little hairy texture with the paintbrush. But first I just use a lot of water and I fill in all the white section, and then I flick my paintbrush in towards where all those scratchy lines are. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Now, you don't have to use black. You could use any color. But I think the black makes the scratchy, colorful lines really pop out. So again, you're just flicking your paintbrush in the same direction as those lines. And the last section, I'm just going to do my fill-in first. Use a lot of water. And then start to flick. And follow the motion of the lines. And there we have it. I would love to see your crazy ostrich pictures on Google Classroom. Bye, guys.